10 minutes away from 7 o'clock. Good to have you with us here on the South African Morning. This ongoing conflict in Ukraine is escalating. No breakthroughs in talks, and Russian tanks are barreling down the roads on their way to the capital of Kyiv. South Africa initially calling for mediation and a diplomatic solution. But can we really make a difference? International Relations later issuing a stronger statement calling on Russia to withdraw its troops. Well, one SA movement leader, Mmusi Maimane, has weighed in on this about defending democracies. Mmusi, good morning to you. Thank you for your time. It's not about just defending democracies. Let's not ever forget, I'm sure you'll agree, that while we're talking about an escalation and diplomacy and conflict, people are dying. There's a humanitarian crisis in the country at the moment.
Good morning, Gareth, and good morning to fellow South Africans. Certainly, one cannot deny that we should globally come to the outright condemnation of the actions of Russia under the leadership of President Putin. I think it's undeniable. We've just gone through a COVID pandemic where we've lost many lives. To add to the death toll to an unnecessary invasion of Ukraine simply cannot be tolerated. Furthermore, it also inspires other despots all over the world who genuinely believe that democratic outcomes as in a country like the Ukraine should not be accepted, and they have the absolute right to invade as and when they please. So I really do believe it's a moment of reckoning for the global community. We sat back when Crimea took place, and now it's time that we actually take stronger action against President Putin, recognizing the fact that ultimately it's a risk to global survival. The last place we want to be is on a terrain of nuclear attacks, and the last place us as South Africans need to be is in a historical battle where we sit back and idle by while interests of nations that are poor, particularly where Africa is concerned, that we fail to articulate our interests. And as you can see, not only will the implications be in the Ukraine, but they will be felt all over the world and more severely in our continent.
So how do we do this, though, Mmusi? As we know, when we talk about African countries, you're quite right, cannot sit back and idly watch what's happening. But South Africa is in a rather unfortunate, some could say unique position because of BRICS and the relationship, as we've seen in the past, between the President, Ramaphosa, and the Russian President, Vladimir Putin. We are in a uniquely South African situation with BRICS and that relationship, aren't we? How do we do this?
Yeah, certainly. I think countries that are certainly around BRICS, I certainly think that between Russia, between India, South Africa and Brazil, there's certainly a common interest here. These are nations that are poor and are part of BRICS and need to stand together united to be clear within the Russian counterparts that this simply cannot be tolerated. So yes, at one level there are diplomatic calls, but secondly, there must be stronger action that is taken, whether that's through potential sanctions, and being able to sit back and say, we must stand strongly. Because as you and I know, for the difficulties of South Africa is that tonight, the implications come into full effect with the fuel price going up. You've already reported on the bread pricing going up, and it will affect poor nations. And unless we stand together along with African counterparts and simply say this cannot continue and make stronger actions against President Putin, this is going to have profound consequences. So I would urge the South African government to be much more activists rather than simply just issuing statements here and there, and then to also invite other African countries, the rest of the continent, to stand in solidarity with South Africa. Because if we do not, you can imagine the crisis that is unfolding now in other democracies such as Zimbabwe, Zambia. These set bad examples and bad precedents which we cannot afford, and we need to stand in defense of democracy as a principle all over the world.
Just very briefly, before I say goodbye to you, Mmusi, has South Africa's government failed South Africans stranded in Ukraine? What's your view?
I think certainly the ambassador has been doing a great job there in terms of getting that, but we need to do more there. And we need to partner with other African countries to make sure we can evacuate citizens who are there as quickly and as effectively as possible. My great difficulty is the mismatch of communication that has come not only from the domestic embassy, but also from the foreign embassy that is placed in Kyiv. And I think we need to create one message and act collectively in this regard.
Yeah, it's all about the one message and acting quickly and decisively as well. One SA movement leader, Mmusi Maimane, thank you very much. The takeaway for me on that is African countries taking a stance, getting involved and not just sitting on the sidelines. My thanks to Mmusi Maimane.